Having a handheld games console from 1989 that actually outputs Bluetooth audio would be pretty awesome, wouldn't it? And the good news is, it is actually possible. That said, though, there are a few caveats that you do need to know before you try it out for yourself. Now, this Game Boy here did actually have a full internal Bluetooth transmitter set up, but when I did it, I wasn't ultimately happy with it, and I never put a video together with the footage of the installation. However, now I've decided to take it apart and remove that transmitter, I thought I'd share with you what is inside this little console. So this is the Game Boy that I built. It's got a lot of positives to it, but there's also a few drawbacks. So I think in this video, I'll just show you the pros and cons of attempting to add Bluetooth audio out into your Game Boy. It's not really something that you need, but it's a fun thing to try. Even with the volume turned down, when I switch on, there's like this whining sound in the speaker, and there's not really much I've been able to do about that, which is a shame because so much works well with this mod. Namely, it's got a capacitive touch sensor in the top for the switch to do your kind of pairing and things like that. Also, I managed to locate the board inside the battery compartment, so you can see the flashing light, like when it's looking for pairing. Let's see, where was that? I can't remember now. I think there was like a little red LED. I think it was somewhere up here. So I wired it up so that it works purely with the volume control on the external Bluetooth, like the Bluetooth speaker or whatever, because I didn't want the interference with the speaker. But as you can see, even with the volume turned down, we're getting that pretty horrific sound. But anyway, it does work. Let's take a look. So we've got a Bluetooth speaker here. We will just switch that on, and that will start flashing, looking for pairing. It's flashing inside here. And now we're connected. And you can hear there is, if I turn it up, quite a lot of interference, which is a shame. Obviously, there's no sound on the demo mode of Tetris, which is where you can hear what it's like when there's no sound coming through. You just get that interference. However, once I press start, it does work. The sound comes through on here. You can control it on the speaker. You still get that interference through the speaker here, so there are still issues. However, it's something that I never investigated further, because although that whine from the speaker and the noise interference is a bit annoying, and although it is kind of cool having the external speaker working with your Game Boy, the biggest issue, and the main issue in general with using Bluetooth audio, unless you're using really, really high quality kit, which I didn't really install in this, it was cheap stuff from eBay, is the audio lag. So when you try and play, like if we go on the A-type game now, let's just stick on the A-type music, and we'll set it on a fairly low level speed so you can see the sort of effect it has, and we'll just turn it up there. When I drop it, did you hear the delay? Even when I paused it, there was a delay, wasn't there? So if I continue the game now, and I'll like drop a few more, and you'll hear the sound, and then we'll get a line, and you'll see that there is a noticeable lag in the sound. Even rotating, it should happen like instantaneously. So really, that gap in the sound made it so that I didn't really feel the need to investigate further and try and get rid of the audio feedback and the sound, because the delay was just, it was unworkable. It makes it pretty much unplayable. However, I think it's something that might be interesting for people to see what I did do if you wanted to try it out yourself, and if the lag didn't bother you. Like if you were playing chiptune music on here and you wanted to just play and let it go, then that can be pretty fun, pretty satisfying. So there are advantages to it, and I figured rather than just scrap it all together, because I am going to remove it from this Game Boy, I thought while I was doing that and I open it up, I'll show you what I did. And if there's anything I missed, like if there was something I should have done that would have like grounded the sound a little bit better so we didn't get that interference, let me know in the comments. I can always pop it back in and have another go. So I will show you, my audience, what I did, and then you can tell me, the experts out there, what I did wrong. If you can see what I did wrong, let me know, and I'll address it and try it out in a future video. So let's just take a look inside the console and show you what I actually installed to try and get a really subtle Bluetooth mod in here. I did a Bluetooth mod years ago, before I was running this as a proper channel. I did upload a video, and for all time's sake, I will link it in this video up here if you want to watch a very, very early Joe Bleeps video. For now, I'm just going to show you what I actually did. So we'll remove the cartridge, we'll take out our batteries, and we'll open up the Game Boy. Carefully remove the ribbon from the IPS kit. There we go. So the front is pretty much as before, nothing particularly changed there. I did try it with other speakers at the time. It didn't make any particular difference. Still got the same sort of feedback. The main install that I did is here. So like I say, I think maybe just something interesting to share with you. So we've got the Bluetooth transmitter, KCX BT emitter V1.4. So it's a whole little Bluetooth transmitter on a chip, and it's got a number of connections on it, which I have used, plus 5 volts, which I connected over here to this point where you've got the direct input from the power supply from the power board here. It goes to the red wire. There is the, I can't even remember what I did now. The ground, so P, G, and D for the power ground, so that I just connected directly here onto the cartridge slot. What else have we got? RX and TX, I've not connected anything. In L, in R, which connected to the points I would normally use on the Pro Sound mods. I was already wiring up to the bottom, so I did a Pro Sound mod, more about that in other videos, but I did a Pro Sound mod to connect to here on the post pot, which means controlling the volume is done through this one. These 2 points are independent of the volume. They just give a straight line out, which is what I connected to here. So the left and right are connected. Right is the white wire and left is the blue wire there, which I connected up to that. And then CON, which is like your connection, I think. Honestly, it's been a while now. So that is connected to this little touch sensor at the top. I wanted to keep this like a really stealthy mod, and I suspect that this is what has maybe been the root of some of the interference. So I might even try it with a different switch and see if that makes a difference. That's got 3 connectors: the ground, the in-out signal, and the VCC for the voltage control, because it does need some power to be able to recognize that touch connection. I think, I can't, like I say, it's a while since I did it. So I've got wires coming out from here to connect up to the top there. So the in-out is connected to the CON for the connector, and the red wire, the VCC, I've connected to the 5 volts there. I felt like that was about the right points to be using, but I'm often quite experimental with these things, and I do know what I'm doing to an extent, but I usually reach a point where it starts to incorporate guesswork in these things. So if you know more and you're watching this and you're thinking, Joe, you have missed something really obvious here, can you let me know? And then I'll try something else to see if we can get that working. I think the positives of this project were that I found a good spot for this to go. Obviously, I've put lots of this Kapton tape over it because it goes directly against the front motherboard when things are reassembled, and the screws and things in there, so I needed to make sure that was fully insulated. But there's enough of a gap between that front motherboard and the battery compartment at the back. See, like we've got these little raised points where the motherboard rests. You could just about get it to sit flat enough in there and position it so that the LED was visible through this little gap here at the bottom of the motherboard. So for me, I was really proud of it at the time, and then like I say, I was getting the audio feedback, and then there was the delay, and after that I abandoned it. So I never released a video of this mod, but it's a Game Boy that I really like. Like, it's a beautiful mod. It's got the IPS screen, but I never use it because of that feedback from the audio. So I thought it's time for me to start investigating that a little bit more. I am going to pretty much leave it there for now. If you can see something that I have done, if you spot a mistake that I have made, if there is anything you think I could try to get a better result on this, then let me know. Obviously, I have thought about using a physical switch instead of this, which is something I might just try now because it's a fairly quick fix and I don't need to actually build anything in. But I wanted to avoid kind of drilling holes and having external switches and things. That's why I wanted to use the touch switch and have it inside there. That's why I wanted to keep the LED inside the battery compartment, so it keeps everything very stealthy. So yeah, I think while we've got the time, let's just have a quick go. So that works, but when it actually switches on and that's just flashing away, normally you'd have some extra control, like where you press and hold and then it starts to flash and search for a different source and things like that, but it doesn't seem to respond to that. So I may have wired up the switch wrong. So there's an audio ground and a power ground. So the power ground I've got connected to there, and the audio ground I've connected to this one here, which I think was correct. I don't know. I mean, you know, we try these things. These things are fun to try, and they don't always work. In this case, it almost worked, but not quite enough. And as I say, in addition to the audio feedback I was getting from it, there's the issue of the delay, the lag in the sound, which makes it so it's not really worth persevering with. But it's a fun thing to try, and hopefully you enjoyed the video, and it might inspire you to try something out, do a better job of it, get back to me, and we'll work out a better way of doing this mod. Oh, also, this had the same sort of crackly issue with the volume dial. So while it's out and I've got my WD-40 contact cleaner, just like last week's video, I'm going to just squirt a little bit in the gap here. And just turn that up and down a bit. Hopefully that will sort out the crackling issue on the volume when I change it with my headphones on. So it's a really nice fix. If you want more details on that, just have a look at my video from last week. I'll link it above if I remember. Okay, right, so time to remove a few wires and one Bluetooth dongle, which is a shame, but I'd rather make this a usable Game Boy. And also I can show you the other side of the little Bluetooth board. Right, let's just disconnect this switch. That should be quite an easy job. Pull that green wire through there, and the black wire, which I'd connected just directly to the ground here. May have been an issue with the switch. Well, again, you can tell me. I'm happy to revisit this mod, you know, using the same parts if someone gives me guidance on what it was that I've been doing wrong. Because it's not like it's a mod that I was doing as a real game changer. It was just a fun thing to try. Remove that point, and these two, the board out of the way. Make sure none of this is shorted. Bit of liquid flux, which will help separate it, guide it through the gaps here. 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 Yeah, they're all definitely separate now, so you just tape that down and hopefully everything will be behaving now, at least in terms of a boring standard Game Boy mod with no fancy Bluetooth extras. Quick try, just there we go, nice and smooth out of there. That's all okay. Also, I will grab my headphones, plug that in. I'm just going to give it a quick test on my stereo headphones to see if the contact cleaner has sorted out the volume issue. Absolutely perfect, sounds perfect, no crackle, no bias to the left and right. It is a really, really good, easy fix, and I didn't have to take it out of the back, just a quick spray in there. It's fine. Right, let's pop this back together. And that is it. I am sure there are loads of people out there who would love that little Bluetooth upgrade, and the things that bothered me wouldn't necessarily bother you. In fact, reviewing the footage, the little whine from the speaker was barely audible on my microphone, so you'll just have to take my word for it that there was an irritating little high-frequency whine coming out from the speaker at all times. But you know, with modding, it's all about trying new different things, and it's about the process. So sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and a lot of the time it's somewhere in between, like it was with this. But I don't really think that is ever going to put me off doing this modding thing anyway. I love doing it too much. If you're thinking of getting into Game Boy modding, you should definitely check out my affiliate link in the description for Zed Labs. They sell loads of stuff for customizing Game Boy consoles and more. It's a discounted link, so it means you get a bit of money off your order while you're supporting my channel as well, so we're all winners. Genuinely interested to hear though, anyone else who's ever tried this or done something similar, how did you go about doing it? What worked, what didn't? Let me know. And you know, has no one else tried it because it's a stupid idea in the first place? Stupid ideas are the most fun though, aren't they? And now this console's back to having a clean audio signal again. I'm going to have a lot more fun playing on it, and that's the main thing, isn't it? But as I mentioned earlier, this was not my first foray into Bluetooth Game Boys. I actually did quite an involved one a number of years ago that worked surprisingly well. There is still a video on YouTube about that, so if you want to check it out, go and take a peep. You might enjoy it. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.